So this is part 2 of the Caprice hopper build up. As you can see, that's the blue and gray one, which is going to be shipped out to its new owner pretty soon. This is the black one, black and gold, going to be shipped to its owner pretty soon. Now, on part 2, we're going to talk about this rear suspension game. Everybody asking me how I do it. Well, the blue Caprice hopper you see hopping, this one, the suspension doesn't move. It's glued in place. It's hot glued in place. This bar you see is a straight round bar. It's just like a coat hanger you could even use. You know, stretched down to here. It's painted black, but it's hot glued down. You know what I'm saying? Attach it to the axle. The bar is pretty much wrapped around this axle, glued in place. The wheel still rolls because the axle goes through there. That's one way to do it, the easy way. Now, I've been working, trying to figure out how to do it so it moves. Like the 6.4. Let's bring the 6.4 over. I'll show you how this one moves, damn it. Check this out. Before I get into the Caprice, I'm going to show you the 6.4. This one has movable suspension. What I did is I take this square tubing here. You can't see how, well, it's square. You know what I'm saying? I get this long piece was $1.29 from Hobby People. You cut it to length. That's what this square tubing is right here, aluminum color. Right there, you can't really see it, but this middle piece of the axle, it's like a high point. You run a straight piece, you drill a hole in each of them, drill a hole in the plastic. Then you take a little metal pin, like you know the little stick pins, and run that through the 3 holes, and then you have a hinge. Then you take, okay, so when you put that hinge on it and glue the axle to it, it moves. You know what I'm saying? It moves. And then for your cylinders, see these cylinders in here, I'm going to show you how to build that. Bam. Drop it, yank it back up. 6.4 is fully movable. You can drop it down. And then in the front, it's just basic U-bars. U-bar setup. You know? But anyway, that's an example of in-place suspension and movable suspension. Now on the Caprice, we're going to do another movable suspension. And since I'm building this one right now, I'm going to show y'all how to do it. You take some regular thin brass tubing that I also got from Hobby People. You can get it from a lot of model stores. And then some hollow tubing, you feel me, of a different color. Let's see. That slides up and down like that. You know what I'm saying? That comes like this. Long pieces of just hollow tubing and brass tubing. The brass tubing is a little bit thinner than the hollow tubing, so it slides in and down, in and out, just like a cylinder. You know what I'm saying? That's what's on the 6.4 here. You cut that to length, and you glue it in place, like so. Now this is the axle I made for the Caprice. It's just some square tubing, 2 pieces of square tubing glued to the axle. You know, make sure it's even, make sure they're the same length and glued the same way. And you use the bottom to fit it on, to make your measurements and everything. Now, here's where the stock trailing arms would have went, right there. Right? But we making longer A-arms because this is a hopper, trailing arms I mean. So they're going to be glued on up here. You just make sure everything's in range. And then I'll show y'all later how to do these hinges for right here. But this is the basics of it. You just use something for trailing arms. We call these trailing arms right here, this piece. Get 2 of them glued to that axle. Bam. Get your measurements. This is hard to do holding the camera too, y'all. But you get it where you want it, glue it in place. If you don't want to glue it, if you want it to move, well, it's a little bit more work. You got to make you some hinges, you know, and you really don't even need cylinders. That's just for the realism. But yeah, that's the basics of it, man. I wanted to answer y'all questions. You know, bam, once you get that hinge on there, it'll be able to swing up, down. And then when you run your wire from the motor, just make sure it goes under the axle up here to the front to pull that U-bar. Know what I'm saying, man? Alright. Y'all try this shit. Peace out.